Okay, so that was quite the discussion. Thank you so much, Chris and Amy, and thank you all for your questions and your comments. And just to reiterate what was already said, this is for us to fill you in on the work that we're doing at the statewide level. We're hoping that this is something that down the road, all of you are going to be able to participate in, but we are doing that work to make that possible for you. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in my presentation right now, but no one get nervous. We're not expecting you to go out, and start new programs without the background and information that you need to do them well. So that is something that we are definitely continuing to work on. Okay, so this is my State of the Village presentation. And I just want to start by saying what a joy and privilege it's been to spend these 2 days with you. I really do love this time. I so appreciate the work that all of you do. And I very much understand it. I know that you don't all know me, but I was the founding director of a village in Huntington Beach, which is in Southern California. And I was the director there for 10 years. I was also part of the planning team that developed Village Movement California. And then many years later, Charlotte Dixon, who I had helped hire to be our founding executive director, hired me. So I have a long village history, and when I look back over where we were in 2012 when I heard about villages and where we are today, I'm just blown away. And I am beyond thrilled and beyond excited about the potential that our movement has to really change the way people age. It's why I do this work. I have a personal story of caring for my aging mom and how isolating that was for both of us. And there were not villages then, or if there were, I didn't know about them. So when I did hear about the village, I just knew, that was the thing. That could have been the game changer for me. That could have been the game changer for my mother and our whole family. So I've been all in on villages ever since then. So I'm so, again, honored and thrilled to be here and to continue to do this work with all of you. So villages in California, I will say, are continuing to be strong. There are about 50 villages in California. They are not all Village Movement California members, but we're going to work to change that too. Our 50 villages touch the lives, we estimate, of about 10,000 people. That includes the older adults themselves, their families, their caregivers, our volunteers, all those people that are big supporters of our villages. And I see all of you every day leaning into the promises that we have made in our villages, the promise to walk alongside of our members in their aging journey. Okay, so we're also working really hard, and that was the main reason I started here at Village Movement California, to get more villages going. We want a village, I want a village in every city, but I'll start with a village in every county. We have to start somewhere. And we haven't achieved that yet, but I very much believe that we're going to get there. In the first year of our incubator program, we launched 3 villages. That was Sonoma Valley, Village Encinitas, and Sebastopol. Others continue in their development, and I expect some to launch in the near future. I also expect new groups to be coming on. And I'm going to just read off a list. And if you are from one of these villages, please stand up and wave your hand. I know that not everyone's here and some people may have left. But Village of Sonoma Valley, I think everyone has seen Eric. Village Encinitas, why don't you guys wave? Kern River Valley. Walnut Creek, anyone here from Walnut Creek Village? That's one of our new ones. Okay, already left. Monterey Village. Yay! Irvine Village. Anyone here from Irvine? They're our newest to join. Then we also have a village developing in South Pasadena and in Palm Springs. And we continue to have interest. I think there's a group that's going to join shortly from Santa Barbara. So there's a lot of interest. We keep getting groups coming, and it is my hope for next year to be able to start targeting communities, targeting larger stakeholders, get more people in other areas to start villages. So we're going to work hard to continue to get those villages up and running. Okay, advocacy is a big part of what we've done and do here at Village in California. We're working to connect our villages better to the larger aging services network. And as you heard on Thursday, we're working alongside the Village to Village network to advocate for the inclusion of villages in the National Master Plan for Aging. You all were a big part of that yesterday, filling out that survey, so thank you so much. We are somewhat doubling down on our commitment to advocacy. I'm going to talk a little bit more about leadership transition in just a minute, but we are going to be bringing on a co-executive director who's going to focus on advocacy and on development. So that's going to just ramp up our pressure on the state. And I anticipate another budget request in the future. We're just going to keep hammering away at that, and eventually they won't be able to ignore us. So keep on that. So I really want to honor Charlotte. So she did retire at the end of May. I'm sure all of you saw that announcement. I'm happy to say that she's currently traveling in Europe with her family, and she's enjoying her retirement. I feel honored to have worked with Charlotte. So I very much miss her, and am very fortunate that she still takes my calls and my Zoom requests. So she is still very much a supporter of the work that we're doing, and is continuing to advocate on our behalf, just in a slightly quieter way. But she took this new organization, Village in California, and with a lot of help from all of you, just developed it into the vibrant coalition that it is today. Her advocacy efforts led to our inclusion in the California Master Plan, and her retirement is now bringing us to a period of transition. So we've decided to honor our village values of working together, of reciprocity, and we're going to be moving to a co-leadership model. So I'm going to stay on. I will be the co-executive director of programs and member engagement. And as I said, we're bringing on someone to work with me who will be the co-director of advocacy and development. That person, we expect an announcement in the very, very, very near future. So we do have someone identified, and I'll be so happy to have my coworker, and I'm going to be so thrilled to introduce that person to all of you. And next year's conference, to be able to share all this work with that person. So that's going to be really, really wonderful. I think it's going to make a huge impact in our efforts to work better at our advocacy, and also allow me to work a lot more with all of you and with the new villages that we want to get started. So we talked a lot about healthcare today. That was really the focus of our day. And all of us know in our villages that the work that we do keeps people healthier longer. The social connection, the support that we provide, they're vital components of healthy aging. And so a consideration of how villages and healthcare can better connect is valuable work. And as Kate said, we meet every other week with Chris and Amy and talk about all this. How do we do this? How do we make this work? Because we know, they know how valuable it is. So we're going to continue to engage in those efforts. We have some pretty big plans for the next year on where we're going to take that, and we will continue to keep you updated and let you know what's going on. We're also continuing our advocacy efforts with the state of California, and again now at the national level. And I think Barbara and Bill know that we are all in, in helping with that effort. It will really benefit all of us. Okay, so now to the most thrilling part of my presentation. It's the survey results. So you all, well, many of you filled out our survey, which I am very, very grateful for, because this is important information. It helps us tell our story just a little bit better. So just some higher level insights. We're definitely committed. We're committed to the work that we do. We want to continue to grow. We want to continue to develop and to reach out to the larger community. Most villages want to expand membership, want to increase funding, of course, which is a lot of why we're having these healthcare conversations, right? Why we're working with the state of California. And also developing partnerships, new partnerships in our communities are goals that most villages have. There's always challenges, and funding, I think, it was always the biggest challenge when I was an ED. I think it continues to be the biggest challenge for all of our villages. And we talked yesterday about the changing landscape in California, how our older adult population in California is rapidly diversifying. So many of our villages recognize this. They want to diversify their membership. There's a lot of conversation around how we do that. That's why we had that discussion yesterday, just with hopes that it might trigger some ideas to help us achieve those goals. Many more of our members are aging alone. They're solo agers, and our founding village members are aging. They're having more needs. So all of these things are challenges. Of course, with challenge comes opportunity. I'm always the optimist. But at Village Movement California, we were developed to strengthen the impact, accelerate the growth, and ensure the sustainability of villages in California. So supporting all of you in your efforts to achieve your village visions, to overcome obstacles and turn them into opportunities, that's what we're here for. So the survey, we were grateful, reported that you're mostly satisfied in the work that we're doing, so we're glad to hear that. But I do want you to know that it is our promise that we will continue to innovate, continue to design ways that we can support you and the important work that you're doing. And I want you all to know that I am always available by phone or email in any challenges that you have. I may not have the answer, but I probably know someone else who's in this room who does have that answer or who's interested in a conversation to figure it out. So please know that we are here for all of you and want to support you. Okay, so the next 3 slides are probably not going to be surprising to all of you. When we look at our overall village membership and the demographics of our membership, our villages remain predominantly female, continue to be predominantly white, and continue to have a low LGBT representation. But as I just referenced, many of you are working to be more welcoming, more inclusive communities. I can tell you that our Village Incubator program is designed to bake in diversity and inclusion I think the old village model was, well, hey, you have this idea, you call your friends, you all come together and you start a village. Well, that ends up being a village of people that look just like themselves, right? So in the incubator, the first thing that we do is community assessment. We look at the demographics. We look at what other community organizations are there. And we encourage the new village to invite those people to have a seat at the table. So from the very beginning, that village is going to look like the community, not just the person who heard about the village. So we're hoping that those efforts are also going to sort of tip the scales on this. We're also looking at partnerships with trusted organizations and communities. So, you know, from my level, if I'm going to target a certain community, because I'd love to see a village there, maybe a more diverse community, I'm going to start there. I'm going to start with who is the trusted voice in that community and how can I connect with them, and with the hopes of being connected with people who would be excited about starting a village. We're also seeing more and more interest in villages developing around common ethnic group or sexual orientation. We have a Chinese identified village developing, and also LGBT villages in development. So a little more about our solo agers. There's many more of us who are aging alone. I think this is a result of many things. More people are unpartnered, whether that's through choice, divorce, death, things like that. Adult children often don't live near enough to their aging parents to be supportive. I can tell you that in my city, my children will never own a home where I live, so they will not be anywhere near me. And I think that's not uncommon anymore, especially in California. So this is obviously a challenge because as we're aging, we need more support. But it's obviously also an opportunity for us to grow our membership because these are people who really need us, and we can step in. Okay, operations, so budget. Questions about village operations showed that our villages do have diverse income sources and varied budgets. I know at the beginning, back in the day, villages thought they could exist on membership fees. That's not sustainable and also not very welcoming and inclusive because the level of those membership fees is very high. Grants and donations are major sources of funding. Membership fees do vary, but as I said, they're not a primary source of income. And I'm happy to see that a lot of our villages are embracing sliding scale membership fees. That's really going to be critical to us ensuring that villages are an option for everyone and that we are inclusive and welcoming. And then fundraisers, we love our fundraisers. We still continue to rely on those, and they're a pretty popular source of income, which makes sense because a lot of times there's a party involved and we all like that. Volunteers are still the cornerstone of villages and the work that we do. A lot of our villages recognize the importance of having some paid staff to coordinate a larger volunteer network. Our model is efficient, but our volunteer model is efficient, but it can be limiting. So a combination of staff and volunteer is looking ideal for a lot of villages. So we do want to grow. We want to increase our membership, our volunteers, partnership, and funding. And we recognize the importance of being more integrated within our community, our larger communities, with the goal of raising our visibility and raising awareness about villages. So I've discussed this, but our villages are working. They're working to evolve to meet the needs of higher need members, and to become more diverse and representative of the communities in which they are actually located. So you told us about your goals and the support that you need to achieve your goals. Villages want to increase their membership, volunteers and funding. We recognize the importance that marketing and the creation of partnerships plays in achieving the goals. So as our villages age, leadership transition is becoming critical. You know, our founding village members are aging. So how do we invite new leadership? That's a conversation that I know a lot of people have. We want to grow, but we're not sure how to manage it. So we have these goals with maybe a little trepidation about how we get there. So with all this information, I think I wanted to highlight it too because I want you to know that we're listening to it and processing and considering what that all means. I want you to know that input from those surveys really matters. And Kate mentioned it this morning, but we are going to launch a new program, which is our Village Incubator. I'm sorry, Village Accelerator. Woo, blew that one. Yeah, the Village Accelerator. We took the input that we got from this survey, like what really matters to all of you. And we used that to craft a program. We used the incubator as sort of our model. And we want to give you the tools you need to achieve these goals, to grow, to build your membership, to increase your funding, to do the things that enable you to do the work you do so well. I think that the connections that we've been speaking about, so we talked a lot about healthcare, and Chris talked about how much money is involved in healthcare. And no, we're not expecting any of you to become clinical providers of anything. That's not the goal. But that partnership, if we can, make that work, that's going to be a big funding source potentially for us. We're working on the state of California. We're going to continue to ask them for funding that we can then get out to the villages. So when these opportunities come to fruition, and I believe they will, we want you to all be ready. We want you to all be ready to go out there and say, okay, yeah, I can take this funding, I qualify for this, I can ramp up our operations, and we're gonna go. So that is part of the goal of the accelerator. So these are basically the same components of our Village Incubator. And I have to say, part of it too, the idea first came because when we launched the incubator, I kept getting phone calls from mature villages, some 10, 12 years old, saying, hey, do you have anything in the incubator around, like membership manuals? I'd love to see a new, good membership manual. So I recognized that there was a lot of need and interest in a little more support in just the basics, right? So we're taking the incubator curriculum, forming a resource guide that we're going to continue to add to as we go through these different modules, but we're going to have workshops and trainings, the resource guide, learning community opportunities where you can come together and share, challenges and opportunities, best practices, what's going well, what's not, and then coaching, which I think always ends up happening naturally within the village because that's just who we are. We want to help each other. So we have 4 initial modules that we're going to explore. We have fund development, village infrastructure development, leadership development, and then villages as communities of care. So each of these modules will have subtopics. So we're going to kind of take a deep dive, and it's going to be from a village perspective. So if we're talking about fund development, we're going to have a consultant come in who understands what villages are. And they're going to talk to you about writing a village-specific grant proposal. It's not just going to be someone who says, oh, well, you know, I found this grant and I got all this money. And then you can't take that and apply it to what you're doing in your village. So, and that is actually going to be our first module, will be fund development. You're going to get a lot more details after the conference, but I hope that when you learn about it, you're going to be excited about it, and you're going to want to join us, because I think having everyone participate is just going to make it such a rich experience. There's so much to learn from each other, and it has the potential to really help us grow so much stronger as a movement. So I just want to close with a big thank you. A thank you again to all of you for the work that you do, for your dedication. Sometimes it can be thankless work, or you can just start to get tired. I think that opportunities like this to come together, they always re-energize me. They make me want to go back home and just really get out there and get back to work. So I hope that you leave here feeling and knowing how much you are valued, how much your work is valued, how it really does make a difference in the lives of other people. And even if they're not telling you, just know that it does, and that it is. We really are helping people live a different life, a life where they still have purpose, a life where they still have agency. And there is nothing more valuable, I think, than that. I want to let you know that next year we'll be back in Northern California. We do flip-flop, so next year we'll see you up there. We're going to have a conference survey. It's actually, if you open your agenda, there's a QR code. So before you even leave, you can fill out the conference survey. Oh, there it is. Otherwise, we will email you a link. I also, once again, want to thank all of our sponsors, because we couldn't do this without their support. And obviously to West Health for letting us use this facility, because it is just amazing. Just a couple of sort of housekeeping announcements. There's leftovers in the kitchen, which I know that you're all going to take advantage of. And I know that some people are probably heading to the airport. If anyone wants to ride share or something, like maybe come up here and arrange something. I'd hate to see everybody taking their own Uber out of here or something like that. And I just want to say safe travels. And I look forward to seeing all of you again next year. And I look forward to seeing you on Zoom before that. So thank you all so much.